Welcome to another episode of Equity Talks, where we break down the matters of mortgages, money, real estate, so you can make smarter investing decisions. Pleased to be joined today by a dear friend, and as they call him, the best broker in the GTA, Narendra Singh. Works at Royal LePage and is really knowledgeable when it comes to the market, current market updates, and we're going to touch on that on the podcast today. As always, brought to you by AJP Mortgage. Another episode of Equity Talks. I'm pleased to be joined by Narinder Singh.
Thank you, Andrew.
Narinder's a gentleman, a dear friend, and one of the brokers at Royal LePage. So we're bringing you a real estate agent expert here. Narinder, you want to say hello to the audience?
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at Andrew's podcast.
Thank you. All right, let's get into it. You ready?
Yes, sure.
All right, let's start with the big picture. Okay, so I highlighted it in bold here. What's happening in Ontario real estate market right now?
Well, Ontario real estate market is very stable right now, just because of all the things that are happening economy-wise, and tariffs, and a lot of inventory. So the market is kind of slow. The listings are not really moving, and people are also in uncertainty because of the tariffs, right? So the buyers who want to upgrade, upsize, and or buy another property, they're not taking the further steps at the moment. And it's only the first-time home buyers that are still in the market, looking for good deals, and investors are not even in the picture. So the market is pretty stable.
Are you seeing it as more of a buyer's market or a seller's market? I know that's kind of a cliche question that everybody asks, but what will your take be on that?
I think it would be still a buyer's market.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Looking at the condition, so much of inventory to choose from, and so many deals to choose from. So buyers are definitely on the upper side over here, and they have the liberty to choose from different listings, negotiate a deal with different sellers, right? So
are you seeing any, I know it's been all over the news. I haven't, in the past month, I haven't said the word tariff as much as I have in my entire life.
Yeah.
It's been on everybody's calling me, what's going on? So this looming tariff news, have you seen any kind of correlation with the market?
Of course, yes. Ever since the tariffs have been announced, ever since people have started knowing about the tariffs, the market has slowed down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it will impact people big time, right? So it's not a small thing, and it's gonna make a dent in their cash flows and all that. That's why people are taking everything seriously, considering every single thing. And definitely tariffs have made a huge impact on the purchasing power and behavior of the people.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even again, like I was saying, we're talking about it a lot. It seems to be on the forefront of everybody's mind.
It is.
What's going to happen? What's the long-term effects? What's the short-term effects? So you have noticed, since the news has come out, a direct correlation. And
100%.
Okay, all right. That's not, that's kind of to be expected.
It is.
Put it that way.
Yes.
So then let's look then at, in Ontario, for example, where would you say, I don't want to say booming, but where do you think is growing or a good place to buy, and what areas are slowing down?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Maybe Southern Ontario, because I don't know how well you know Sudbury, North Bay, and all those areas.
Oh, yeah. There are so many areas where people are still kind of buying. It's because of a couple of reasons. It could be one reason is the prices, of course. So in the suburbs, outside of GTA, prices have come down a lot more than what has happened in GTA, right? So GTA still holds the prices, especially Mississauga and Toronto, right? The prices haven't fallen that drastically. But if you go to suburbs, if you go to east, like Whitby, Oshawa, those cities, there are so many sales happening there because houses are still affordable, right? And as I said, first-time home buyers are still in the market, right? And they always look for the house at a starting point, like 700K, 800K, those kind of amounts. And Whitby, Ajax, Oshawa, those cities, they have that kind of townhouses inventory, right? And also, if you come towards west, like Cambridge, Kitchener is a really good market. A lot of home buyers are moving to these cities.
Cambridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Kitchener, Waterloo.
And Waterloo. Also, Hamilton is popping up a lot because of the, again, affordability and a lot of new things happening in Hamilton as well. So these cities are definitely on top of buyers' minds right now. It could be, it's let's say Ajax, Whitby, Kitchener, Waterloo, Hamilton, Guelph. So these places are definitely,
So out of the city of Toronto core.
essentially. Yeah. Outside the GTA, there are sales still happening.
So for like a buyer who's looking, I kind of hear what you're saying. Like you're going to get more bang for your buck.
Exactly.
In those areas.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. And I agree with that too. I see that all the time. A lot of people are moving Durham way or even Hamilton way because for $700,000, you can get a house. We're here.
Exactly. You're not a price of condo over here. You'll get a nice freehold townhouse, outside of GTA somewhere.
Condo market's coming down.
Condo market is dead.
It is dead as a doorknob. I can't believe just how fast and consistent it's been going down.
It's going down.
Are you guys selling a lot of condos?
Not really, actually. A lot of condos that we even sold in the past years, they haven't been closing. So
we're seeing that too.
There's a lot of inventory in condos, a lot of new condos building up, and the past one that are in the verge of closing, and a lot of assignments coming out of those condo deals, right? So there is a whole bunch of inventory, but not many buyers for condos.
Yeah, and then you mentioned that. So the new build stuff is selling on assignments. We see a lot of that as well. So on that note, like, where do you see the prices now? I'm sure they're going down. And where do you kind of, what's like your 3 to 5 year forecast
for a condo market?
Let's talk about the housing market in general.
Well, housing market in general in long term, 3 to 5 years will definitely see some improvement, right? And but in condos, it will take some time. It will take probably 3 to 5 years
before we're out of the weeds.
Yes, before we're out of this problem, because there's so much of inventory, and just to clear this inventory, it will take a lot of time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Although I will say a lot of builders are stopping building. You're seeing that, right? So maybe that lack of new surplus coming in could stabilize it. But again, it's really anybody's guess, for sure.
It is, yeah.
All right, I want to get into your area of expertise, the real estate, the buying, the selling. You're the master at. Can we talk a little bit about, a lot of our clients, a lot of the audience is first-time home buyers. So what do you think the biggest mistakes a first-time home buyer makes? Like, what do you see normally?
Yeah, I normally see quite a few things that first-time home buyers usually miss, when they are starting their search. So first of all, they need to have understanding in their mind about their budget, right? Like how much they are willing to spend on a monthly mortgage, and what are their other obligations and all that. And for that, of course, they need to talk to a good mortgage broker.
Why we're here. That's why we're
here. And I always recommend them to talk to you before they even, think about purchasing and all that. They should be looking at their finances and making sure it makes sense, right? And the next step, I advise them to talk to a good real estate agent, because that is as important as talking to a good mortgage broker, right?
And that's why we go hand in hand. A little unknown fact is Narinder and I actually like each other so much, we share an office together.
Yeah.
So it's half of my team, the other half is his team.
My team, yeah.
And we've built a great partnership, and it's exactly what you said. So really, that's why we go hand in hand, knowing total what the monthly payments are, if it's condo maintenance fees,
exactly,
total monthly expenses to service the place. Yeah. Getting that information first, then coupling it with a great real estate agent.
Exactly, because they need to make sure that if they're starting, towards looking at something, it even makes sense for them.
Right.
It's not waste of time for them and their mortgage broker and their realtor, right? So they definitely need to look at these things. So while we are talking about this, I wanted to check with you, since the new rules have come in place about the down payment and all, what is the down payment that a first-time home buyer would need?
Well, that's a great question. Very common one, especially on our first-time home buyers or people looking to get into the market. The new rules as of last December, if you're a first-time home buyer, put 5% down. The way it works for everybody that doesn't know is it's 5% on the first 500,000 and then 10% on everything after that. So the first 500, 5% is 25, and then the remaining amount past 500 is at 10%.
Yeah.
So for the new rules for the first-time home buyers, they can now buy up to 1.5 million.
1.5 million.
With the minimum down payment required, which is that first 5 on the first 500,000 and then 10% after. So that's really attractive because you can actually get a pretty decent home for 1.5 million, especially for a first-time home buyer.
Exactly.
That being said, obviously when you're putting down less down payment, you're taking more mortgage.
Yeah.
So the people have to be cognizant of that. Speak to a mortgage professional, because when you're putting less than 20% down, higher mortgage means they may not qualify for that full amount.
Yeah, they have to look at their monthly
Totally, and the debt servicing ratios with the bank.
ratio and everything.
Yeah.
We have to take into consideration.
So I think that's pretty attractive. We're seeing a lot of that because it's the easiest way for somebody to get into the market. Obviously, saving 20% down, it's ideal in the sense if you're taking less of a mortgage, but it's not always realistic. When you're looking at buying for $1 million, that's 200,000
Yeah.
plus land transfer tax.
Yeah.
Which again, first-time home buyers get a little bit of a discount on that, but still, land transfer tax, legals, and 200,000.
A lot of closing costs.
It's a lot of money for most people.
Yes, exactly.
So I like to tell people when they're buying, first-time home buyers especially, let's look at using the minimum down payment.
Yes,
So that's definitely an area I see a lot of.
that's great.
What's one thing we're going still on keeping on the subject of first-time home buyers. What's one thing that a first-time home buyer should do before house hunting? I think we touched on it a bit, but kind of walk us through it.
They should definitely be doing a little bit research, as I said, about their monthly budget, monthly expenses, and start searching the house accordingly. And the first thing, of course, they have to be in touch with professionals like yourself and myself, so that we can guide them properly, like what kind of house they should be looking at according to their needs and what area, and we can suggest a few things. And that's where they should be starting their search at.
Speaking to professionals,
Yes.
getting the numbers together,
That's it.
then looking within their budget.
That's it.
And I know it's kind of a loaded question, because I think the obvious answer is, get a house. But what do you think for first-time home buyer you're seeing more of, or you would recommend? Condo or house?
I would definitely, given this market, I would definitely go with a house.
Yeah.
Condos involve a lot
Well,
of...
could you not get a great deal on a condo now? That's what I've been telling a lot of people. Like, the values are down.
Yeah, you are right. You may be able to get a good deal, but you have to think long term, right?
Correct.
So if you're only thinking, okay, short term, then that may make sense. But if you're looking at long term, if you have to look at the resale value of the property and all that. So in that matter, I would say a freehold property would appreciate much more than a condo would.
Oh, that's almost, no, there's no unequivocals, but that's almost guaranteed.
Yes.
You have a detached house, and then you also have the ability, a lot of people looking to start a family.
Exactly.
You don't have to live in a shoebox condo,
Exactly.
then sell and buy another house. You kind of could buy your forever home or one of your last homes.
Yes, and then you have to remember that the maintenance fee and all those costs will eat up a lot of your equity, right?
Correct.
So it doesn't really, if you have that kind of capability of paying that much of money towards the maintenance fee, I would rather suggest you to pay that much money towards your own mortgage, right? And get a freehold.
So I was waiting for this topic. This is one that I really wanted to ask you. So real estate 2025, is it still a good investment?
I would say it's still a good investment as long as you're doing it in a long term. Yeah, you have a plan, right? It's always a good investment in real estate. Of course it's better than all these stocks, cryptos, and other investments, but it has to be done properly, right? Looking at the market right now, investment could be great because you may be able to find some really nice properties where sellers are distressed, and they're selling or disposing their properties of like way less than the market.
No, it goes back to the earlier question of, is it a buyer's or seller's market? I definitely believe it's a buyer's market.
Yes.
It being a buyer's market, you could find some really attractive deals.
Exactly. Yes.
So, but one thing you said that I've been saying to everybody, my clients, anybody who will listen, is real estate is a long-term investment.
It is a long-term investment.
Couldn't agree with that more. If you're thinking you're buying low, flipping it high, I mean, again, could you do it? Yes,
You
for
could
sure.
do it. People have done it.
100%.
Yeah.
But from an investment, and we've had a couple of investment brokers on,
Yeah.
and everybody says the same thing. Like, you should always own where you live, and you should hold your real estate as long as you can.
Exactly. That's how it will pay off, right?
Yeah.
And it does make sense that currently there are so many distressed sales just because we are in that kind of market, right? And that is one of the reason, one of the things investors are looking at, right? Investors are looking at sellers, properties where sellers are, leaving behind so much of equity and all that, and that's a great investment.
No, and I had a friend the other day call me, and he said, if you got any condos that you see or clients want to sell, call me. And I said, Marco, why are you looking at buying a condo now?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you're going to live there? Because I wasn't sure of his living situation. I wasn't getting into his personal, but he said, no, I want to invest. And I'm like, that's smart.
That's smart.
If he has disposable income, he has a little bit of side, get a condo now and watch the values go up.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. Best investment properties, we discussed this, but I'm going to kind of give you a situation. So let's say you owned your first home, you've done a good job in 5-10 years paying down the mortgage, kids are getting a little bit older, you guys love the house, somebody has some money saved up and they want to put it into real estate. Is it best to buy a house, a condo, or a townhouse? What's your opinion?
I would say if it's for an investment and they want to rent it out, it would be better to find a townhouse, a freehold one, if you're at it.
Freehold means no maintenance fee.
No maintenance.
You own it outright.
Yeah, no maintenance fee. There could be a small fee to kind of remove the garbage,
Right.
clear the snow and all that. But those properties are still in the good demand. Condos could be a good investment at the moment, because as we've been talking about, there's so many assignments.
Correct.
Where the original buyers are leaving behind up to 15-20% of deposit, right? So if you're getting that kind of deal, that's something that you definitely will make sense, and you're basically taking advantage of someone's deposit that they have paid a 15% deposit and they're leaving behind. It'll be assigned to you. So we have a few deals of those kind. That's where.
So just for kind of the audience, so I like to keep everything as simple as possible. We're seeing these new builds that were bought a couple years ago,
Yes.
3, 4, 2 years,
2 years.
that are now occupancy. It's time to close.
Yep.
The values aren't coming in,
No.
or the people aren't qualifying.
Yes.
The buyer is still beholden to the builder.
Yes.
They have to close on it or risk losing their down payment.
Yep.
And potentially being sued by the
getting into legal trouble.
So what happens now in this kind of climate and atmosphere is if the mortgage guy like myself, there's no avenue out, they don't have the income, they can't qualify, or the equity is not there when it goes to appraised because they bought it on a much higher market.
Yep.
One of the most popular avenues out is an assignment
It's
sale.
an assignment.
Just explain how the assignment sale works.
So how it works is, let's say you have booked an apartment or condo unit with a builder, right?
Mhm.
And right now the time is here for the occupancy, and then you don't qualify for the mortgage, or you don't want to close it,
Or the appraisal doesn't come in.
appraisal doesn't come in. So many different reasons, and you want to assign it to someone. So you can assign your contract. You can assign your agreement of purchase and sale to a new buyer.
So basically they're forfeiting the money they've already put into the builder.
Yeah, in many cases.
In many cases, not in all. Thank you for catching me that.
In many cases.
In many cases, they're forfeiting their deposit down
Yes.
they've put in,
Yeah.
and they're allowing somebody to take the requirement of closing the purchase.
So the new
by
buyer,
assigned.
yeah, new buyer will take over the deposit. The deposit will be assigned to this new buyer, and they have to close on the agreement, and they have to bring the finances and all that.
Love that. No, yeah, then that's what's happening, and that's where
What's happening?
you
and
could get a good deal on.
Yeah, it's happening a lot. We have a few deals on our hand where we have like 15 to 20% down, deposit, and buyer is walking away off from.
No, I've seen it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gave one to a good friend of mine who, like, he was looking, and another. I got a couple of friends that are real estate investors, and took it over. The clients were happy because they got out of their contractual agreement, and he got a great deal on the place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where we find win-win deal.
Yeah.
The buyer is also gone and they don't have to close on the deal, and the new buyer will have found a great deal,
No, that's one area that people could look at. So your opinion on the situation I just gave you, freehold towns, or in this market looking for something like an assignment sale to attract.
It'll work out.
Understood.
Yes.
Understood. Risks. So when somebody's looking to either get into their first home, or I think it's going to pertain more to somebody looking to buy additional real estate as an investment, what are some of the risks?
I don't think there is any major risk, to be honest. At the you're buying a house, basically, you're purchasing your.
Okay, I'll give you some though that I see all the time. Tenant doesn't pay for a year. That's a huge one. In Ontario, I know it's different in Alberta. Our friends in Edmonton, I think it's 30 days they can get the tenant out.
Yes.
Here, there's stories all over the news. Tenant hasn't paid for 12 months. The board, the land tenancy board, not kicking them out. And if you hadn't budgeted for a year's or potential no payment of rent, or you don't have the actual money up front, because that's what a lot of people are doing now, taking 6 months up front.
Yes.
That could kill you. Like, I know there was a client of mine I had, he actually made the news. I can't remember if it was on CP24 or where it landed, but the tenant hadn't paid for 12 months. Great guy, Indian guy actually. Really great guy. 12 months, hadn't been paid. He had to deregister his RSPs to keep the place afloat.
Wow.
So that, to me, when I'm telling people looking to buy, tenants and the tenant laws in Ontario are something to be very aware of.
Yeah, I mean, for investment property, that's one thing that you have to consider. Definitely, if you are buying a property for investment, you have to put the tenants in there, right? And for that matter, you have to assume that risk that if they don't pay, that's something, you have to bite the bullet, right? But again, that's something it's you cannot predict, right? And we do our due diligence, like as much as we
as a realtor,
and as a realtor, when we're finding a tenant for our client, right? We do our due diligence. We find whatever we can about that tenant and make sure that they are.
You vet them, basically.
We vet them, and we kind of qualify them for, just like you qualify them for a mortgage, right? So there's a contract in place and all that, but if there is a situation like that, of course, you're right. The client has to be prepared for something like this.
Yeah, you should always keep, my grandfather used to tell me, you should always keep a little bit of wine at the bottom of the barrel. That's what he would say.
Nice.
So you should always keep a little reserve, which I agree with. So other than that, though, I do think real estate's a strong investment on the long term.
It is.
Could you buy high, like if you were to have bought a couple years ago, and now if you were trying to sell it, be out of money? Sure. But if you're willing to keep it through the ebbs and flows, overall, it's a safe place.
Overall, it will be, yes, definitely. Like, if you look at it like any charts, overall, in long-term, properties definitely pay off.
Yeah, they appreciate. Yeah,
they appreciate, right?
Absolutely.
And if you're just looking at a small short-term flip, this may not be the right market, but you never know. That market may be here in a few years. So yeah, definitely there are, these are the points that you have to keep in mind when you're strategizing for the investor, especially, and go from there.
No, those are some great points. All right, we always do either a true or false on here or a rapid fire question.
Okay.
So for you, I've decided I want to do the rapid fire. So
in trouble?
Yeah. No, this is a big deal here on the podcast.
Okay.
So I'm going to just shoot something off, quick, not yes or no, but just kind of quick answer to the question.
Okay, I'll try.
Is now a good time to buy a home in Ontario?
Yes.
Okay. Will nobody knows this one. This is the one I ask everybody. Will home prices go down in 2025 into 2026?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
What's the minimum down payment needed? This is more of a me question, but
you already answered.
I did.
So it's 5% up to the first $500,000, and then up to the next $1 million, it's like another 10%, right? Am I right?
Yeah. So you're listening. Okay, good. Condo versus house, what's a better buy?
In this market, I would say still a house, but if you can find a good deal.
if you can afford it.
Exactly.
Got it. Which Ontario cities are best for buying in 2025? Give me 3.
Hamilton, Cambridge, Whitby.
Okay. All right. What's the biggest hidden cost when buying a home?
Closing cost is land transfer tax. People don't know a lot.
Especially in Toronto,
There's double.
There's
tax,
double.
right?
Yeah.
First-time home buyers will get a credit, but that's there.
I like this one because I've always bought my house. My house is towards the end of the year, around December. That's my opinion. But when's the best time of the year to buy a house?
You are actually right. The best time to buy a house is towards the end of the year. Less people are into the buying, right?
To focus on the holidays,
Exactly.
right?
Focus on the holidays. You may definitely find a better deal in that compared to in a spring or summer market.
Record time, golden information in record time. You did good.
Oh, nice.
That was it. Yeah, you flew through those. So very good. Kind of just final points. I mean, this was really a real estate conversation. Obviously, we're office partners here, and I had to. It's almost a matter of principle. I had to have you on for sure. Yeah, we need.
You took.
I did take. I knew you weren't going anywhere.
I was watching your podcast from the outside of the room.
You were like, "What? When is he going to invite me?" No, but I'm really happy you came on. It was really a real estate conversation, just kind of a market update and what you see. Am I missing anything? Is there any points that you want to touch on?
I don't think so, but if you ever want to invite me again, I don't know if
This is part 1.
I'd be here.
I'm going to put on the video title part 1.
Part 1.
It's part 1. There's going to be at least 2 or 3, especially as we get into this year, which is going to be a really interesting year.
Yeah.
On my side, but mainly on your side, what's going to happen with the market.
Oh, exactly. Definitely. And we touched most of the first-time home buyer questions today. And definitely, I think, as you said, if we make part 2 or part 3, we can touch other points.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody's on the fence about buying a house. What are you telling them?
I would say get in the market. Start looking. You never know. You may find a very good deal, and that may not happen in the coming future.
And where can our listeners, because I'm sure they love the podcast, they love what you had to say, where can our listeners connect with you for real estate guidance?
Yeah, they can connect with me at my Instagram page. It's Best Broker in GTA.
We're going to put that down below for everybody.
Yes. And my website is bestbrokerinGTA.ca.
Both are true. The best broker in GTA. Well, I'm so happy you came on.
Thank you.
It was definitely overdue. But unlike maybe some of our guests, I mean, I can't say that for sure, but I know, especially with our proximity of offices, we're going to do a part 2 and a part 3.
We should.
So thank you so much, Narinder. I really appreciate it. Honestly,
thank you.
You're a friend and a colleague. And for our audience, if you found value in today's podcast, please hit the like button below, follow button. And if there's anybody, friends, family, colleagues looking for real estate advice, please share the video with them as well. As always, I'm Andrew Patricio, brought to you by AJP Mortgage. Thanks for watching.